Welcome to English Speaking Corner, your quiet space for building real speaking confidence. We are going to slow down time today and fix the one moment that destroys your English fluency more than anything else, the freeze. Imagine it is 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. You are standing in the office kitchen, waiting for the coffee machine to finish brewing. It is quiet. Suddenly, a new colleague you want to impress walks in, smiles, and asks, "So, what is your take on the new marketing timeline?" Your heart starts pounding. You know the words, but your mouth locks shut. The silence gets loud, and you feel the panic rising in your chest.
I used to just awkwardly laugh and say yes whenever that happened, because I was too terrified to ask for a moment to think. It made me look completely incompetent, even though I knew the answer perfectly well inside my head.
Today, we practice 3 bridge phrases that stop the panic and give your brain the 5 seconds it needs to catch up.
This is such a crucial topic because we often focus so much on vocabulary and grammar that we forget about the pressure of time. When you are listening to a podcast or watching a movie, you have zero pressure. You can pause, you can rewind, you can look up a word. But in that kitchen scenario you just described, there is no pause button.
Exactly. And that lack of a pause button triggers a biological response. It is the fight or flight response. Your brain senses a threat, the threat of social embarrassment, and it shuts down the language centers to focus on survival. That is why you go blank. It's not because your English is bad, it's because your brain is panicking.
That is a very comforting way to look at it. I think many of our listeners blame their English level when they freeze. They think, "Oh, I need to study more grammar," or "I need to memorize more words." But actually, they need a strategy to handle the adrenaline.
That is right. You do not need more words. You need more time. And you need a way to buy that time without looking like you are confused. We are going to break this down into 3 specific tools: the emergency brake, the thinking brake, and the pivot.
Let's start with the emergency brake. I love this name. What does it mean in the context of a conversation?
Think about that moment in the kitchen. The colleague asks the question. If you stay silent for even 2 seconds, the silence feels heavy. It feels awkward. The other person might think you didn't hear them or that you don't understand English. The emergency brake is a phrase you say immediately, within half a second, to stop the silence.
So the goal isn't to answer the question yet.
No, the goal is simply to make noise. By making a controlled sound, you tell the other person, "I heard you, I understand you, and I am preparing an answer." It relieves the tension instantly.
I remember when I first moved to London, I had this happen constantly. Someone would ask me for directions on the street, and I would just stare at them while I tried to visualize the map in my head. They would usually just walk away before I could speak. If I had just said something, anything, they would have waited.
Precisely. Let's look at the first and most versatile emergency brake phrase. It's simple. That is an interesting question.
It sounds so basic, but it's powerful.
It works because it's a compliment. You are validating their question. And while you are saying those 5 words, that is an interesting question, your brain is buying about 2.5 seconds of processing time.
And you can use this for almost anything, right? Not just deep philosophical questions.
Absolutely. Even for the marketing timeline question, what's your take on the timeline? That is an interesting question. It doesn't mean the question is fascinating. It just means it's worth thinking about.
What if the question isn't interesting? What if it is something negative?
Then you can use a slightly different variation. You can say, "I have never thought about it like that."
Oh, I like that one. I have never thought about it like that. It implies that you have thoughts, but this specific angle is new to you. It makes you sound intelligent and reflective rather than confused.
Exactly. Let's try to practice the rhythm of this. I want our listeners to try this with us. I will ask Mark a question, and Mark, I want you to use the emergency brake immediately. Do not wait.
I'm ready.
Mark, do you think we should change the project deadline to next Friday?
That is an interesting question.
See how natural that felt? There was no awkward gap. Let's try the other one. Mark, why do you think the client reacted so negatively to the email?
I have never thought about it like that.
Perfect. Listeners, notice that Mark did not actually answer my question yet. He hasn't given an opinion on the deadline or the client, but he has taken control of the conversation. He is no longer the victim of the question. He is the leader of the response.
There is another one I use all the time, especially when I am really stuck. It's very short. I just say, "Let me see."
Let me see. That is a classic. And the trick with let me see is the vowel sound. You have to stretch it out. You do not say, let me see, aggressively. You say, let me see.
The stretching is the key. That long E sound is the bridge. It signals to the listener that you are searching through your mental files. It is almost like a loading bar on a computer screen.
That is a great analogy. It is an audio loading bar. As long as you are making that sound, nobody will interrupt you. They will wait for you to finish downloading your thought.
So we have, that is an interesting question. I have never thought about it like that. And let me see. These are our emergency breaks. But Anna, what happens after the break? We have bought maybe 2 or 3 seconds. What if we still don't have the answer?
That brings us to the second tool, the thinking bridge. The emergency brake stops the silence. The thinking bridge connects your initial reaction to your actual answer. This is where you organize your thoughts out loud.
This is the part that scares people, I think, because they feel like they need to speak in perfect paragraphs. But native speakers don't speak in perfect paragraphs. We speak in messy, broken chunks.
We do, and we use specific phrases to warn the listener that our answer might be complicated or that we are trying to find the right words. One of my favorites is, how can I put this?
How can I put this? I use that all the time. It's basically an admission that you have the idea, but you are looking for the vocabulary.
And the beauty of it is that it makes you sound very precise. It implies that you care about accuracy. You are not just struggling to speak English, you are struggling to find the perfect word. That is a high-status struggle.
It changes the dynamic completely. Instead of a learner struggling with a second language, you become a thoughtful professional trying to be exact.
Let us practice the intonation of this one. It usually goes down at the end. How can I put this? It's reflective. You are talking to yourself as much as to the other person.
Another good one in this category is, it's a bit complicated to explain.
Yes, this buys you a lot of time because it lowers the listener's expectations. You are telling them, hey, this isn't going to be a simple yes or no answer. It gives you permission to speak slowly.
And if you combine them, you have a lot of runway. Imagine the kitchen scenario again. What is your take on the timeline? First, the break? That is an interesting question. Then the bridge. It's a bit complicated to explain.
By the time you have said those 2 sentences, you have had about 6 or 7 seconds since the original question. Your heart rate has likely gone down. You have taken a breath. You are back in the driver's seat.
I want to add one more bridge phrase that I think is very natural. Well, let me think for a second.
That is the most honest one. You're literally asking for permission to think. And because you are asking for it confidently, people will always give it to you. The mistake is staying silent without asking. If you stay silent, they panic. If you say, let me think for a second, they relax.
It is all about managing the other person's anxiety as much as your own. If you look panicked, they feel panicked. If you verbalize your process, everyone stays calm.
Before we move on to the final tool, I want to address a common worry. Some students tell me, but Anna, if I use these phrases all the time, won't I sound repetitive? Won't people notice I am stalling?
That is a valid fear, but here's the secret. Native speakers use these phrases constantly. We just don't notice them because they are filler. We filter them out. If you listen to interviews with famous CEOs or politicians, they are constantly saying, that is a great question, or look, it's complicated. They are stalling too.
You are just copying the natural rhythm of English conversation. You are not cheating. You are playing the game correctly.
If you are enjoying this breakdown and you want to make sure you never miss a lesson on building your confidence, please take a second to subscribe to the channel. We are building a library of these calm, practical guides, and we would love to have you with us for the next episode.
Now, let us look at the third tool. We have the emergency brake and we have the thinking bridge. But sometimes, even after 6 or 7 seconds, you still cannot find the complex vocabulary you want. You are stuck. You know what you want to say in your native language, but the English words are just not there.
This is the nightmare scenario. You have bought the time, but the delivery has failed.
This is where you need the pivot. The pivot is a phrase that allows you to abandon the complex sentence you were trying to build and restart with a much simpler one.
Oh, I love this. It's like a reset button.
Exactly. You are trying to explain the marketing timeline nuances, and you realize you don't know the word for bottleneck or simultaneous. You are stuck in a grammar trap. You need to pivot. The best phrase for this is, basically what I mean is.
Basically, what I mean is, that is your escape hatch.
As soon as you say basically, you are giving yourself permission to summarize. You do not need the fancy words anymore. You can just say, basically what I mean is the timeline is too short.
And that is a perfectly good answer. You do not need to say, the simultaneous execution of these tasks creates a bottleneck. You can just pivot and say, the timeline is too short.
Another great pivot phrase is, the main point is.
It serves the same function. It cuts through the noise. It focuses the conversation on the outcome.
So let us put the whole sequence together. This is the blank mind recovery protocol. Step 1, the question hits you. Panic starts. Step 2, emergency brake. That is an interesting question. Step 3, thinking bridge. How can I put this? Step 4, the pivot, if needed. Basically, what I mean is. Step 5, simple answer.
It is a formula. And like any formula, it works best when you practice it until it becomes muscle memory.
That is exactly what we are going to do now. We are going to enter the simulator. I want you, the listener, to actively participate in this. I'm going to play the role of the colleague or the friend. I will ask you a question.
And I will be your coach. I will tell you which tool to use. We will start slow.
Okay, imagine we are at a dinner party. It's loud, we're holding drinks. I turn to you and ask a question about your job. Mark, guide them.
Okay, listeners, Anna is going to ask you if you like your job. I want you to use the emergency brake. That is an interesting question. Ready?
So tell me, do you actually enjoy what you do for a living?
Say it now. That is an interesting question.
Good. Did you say it out loud? Did you feel how it stopped the pressure? Now let us add the thinking bridge. I will ask the same question, you say the break, and then add, it's a bit complicated to explain.
Ready? Break plus bridge.
Do you actually enjoy what you do for a living?
That is an interesting question. It's a bit complicated to explain.
Excellent. Now complete it. You do not need a long answer. Just say, but yes, I do, or no, not really.
Let's try a full run-through. Break, bridge, short answer.
Do you actually enjoy what you do for a living?
Go.
I hope you managed to get all 3 parts out. It feels much more controlled than just blurting out yes or no, doesn't it?
Let us try a harder scenario. The office kitchen, high pressure.
Okay, you are at work. The boss is standing there. She looks serious. She asks you about a project that's going wrong.
This time, I want you to use the let me see break and the how can I put this bridge. These are softer, more thoughtful.
Hi there. Look, why are the sales figures down so much this month?
Let me see. How can I put this?
And then you would give your answer. Notice how let me see diffuses the boss's aggression slightly? If you answer too fast, you might sound offensive. If you take a moment to look for the answer, you look like you are analyzing the data.
That is a crucial point. Slowing down makes you look more analytical. Speed often looks like panic.
Let us try one more scenario. This one is an opinion question. People often freeze on opinion questions because they think there's a right answer.
We are at a coffee shop, just friends hanging out.
I will ask you about a movie we just watched. I want you to use the pivot. Imagine you tried to explain the plot but got stuck. Use basically what I mean is to finish your thought.
So start with the break. That's an interesting question. Then hesitate. Then use the pivot.
What did you think of the ending of that movie? It was so weird, right?
That is an interesting question. Basically what I mean is, I liked it.
It works every time. You take a complex feeling, you stall, you realize you can't explain the nuances of the cinema, so you pivot to, I liked it. And that is a successful conversation.
The most important thing here is that you are training your brain to reject silence. You are replacing the freeze response with a speak response, even if the speech is just filler.
And once you master these phrases, you will find that you actually need them less.
Why is that?
Because simply knowing you have them in your pocket reduces your anxiety. You are not afraid of the silence anymore because you know you can kill it instantly with, that is an interesting question. And because you are less afraid, your brain doesn't freeze as often. You actually access your vocabulary faster.
It is a safety net. When you walk on a tightrope with a net, you are less likely to fall because you are less shaky.
Exactly. Now, I want to give you a challenge for this week. It is a simple one, but it requires a little bit of courage.
What is the challenge?
I want you to use one of these bridge phrases in your next conversation, even if you do not need it.
Even if I know the answer immediately?
Yes, even if someone asks you, what time is it? I want you to practice saying, let me see, it is 3:30.
That is a great idea. It removes the pressure because you aren't actually stuck. You are just rehearsing the mechanics.
Precisely. Do it when the stakes are low. Do it with a friend. Do it at the grocery store. Do you want a receipt? Let me see. No, thank you. Get the rhythm into your mouth. Feel how the vowel sounds stretch. Feel how it gives you control.
And then when the big, high-pressure moment comes, when the boss asks about the sales figures or the date asks about your family, the phrase will be there waiting for you. You won't have to search for it.
Remember, fluency is not about knowing every word in the dictionary. It is about handling the moments when you don't know the word with grace and confidence.
You do not have to be perfect. You just have to keep the ball moving.
You have the tools now: the emergency brake, the thinking bridge, the pivot. Use them to buy your 5 seconds of freedom.
Let us know in the comments which phrase feels most natural to you. Is it "let me see"? Or is it "that is an interesting question"?
Thank you for practicing with us today. Keep speaking, keep making mistakes, and keep filling the silence.
See you in the next episode.
Goodbye for now.